Since it starts, you're ready to go. Okay, you're good to go.
Excellent. Monterey Peninsula Unified School District Citizens Oversight Committee meeting, December 6th. We'll call the meeting to order at 5:11 p.m. Heidi, could you call the roll, please?
Chair Kevin Dayton,
Here.
Erica Graham, Ben Beasley, Vice Chair Adam Gonzalez,
Here.
and Kurt Overmeyer.
Here.
Here, quorum.
Thank you. Public comments. Is there anyone here to speak or public comment on items not on the agenda? You don't have any. Let's move on to item C, review and adopt minutes of September 20th, 2023 Oversight Committee meeting. And I did submit 2 minor changes to Heidi typographical. For a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second. All right, we want to do a vote here.
And we're all present.
This is to approve the minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Chair Kevin Dayton,
Aye.
Ben Beasley, Erica Graham, Vice Chair Adam Gonzalez.
Aye.
Kurt Overmeyer.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. Review financials for Measure I and project updates. This is for the first quarter, July 1st, 2023 to September 30th, 2023. And Ryan, I'll pass to you to give an introduction.
Absolutely. So in your packet, and we also have posted to the website, is the first quarter of activity for Measure I. So just a reminder, Measure P is we're no longer reporting on Measure P, that all of that has been spent. So we're going to be focusing on Measure I going forward. So you do have the quarter of the fiscal activity presented in 2 different ways in here. So you could see it broken down by project and then also broken down by vendor. I may make a recommendation that we kind of go over it as a whole, maybe spend a couple of minutes and review it versus page by page, because it is a rather large report for this particular quarter.
I don't think with the rest of the committee are you okay with spending 2 minutes or 3 minutes to look over the material and ask questions rather than go page by page because of the length of the report.
I am. I reviewed them this weekend. So
Okay, good. I didn't have a question. I noticed when you get to the expenditures, there was a lot of expenditures that you're both positive and negative, and I'm going to assume based on previous experience, that's a reimbursement from something outside of the bond program, but I wanted to check on that.
Actually, what it is, it's a prior year liability. If you notice the dates on most of those in and outs, they'll be the very first part of July. So our contractors.
July 20th.
Right, our contractors submit their invoices through June, which is the end of our fiscal year. But there's a cutoff date. You know, obviously, they can't submit their invoice the last day of June because they're probably still tabulating.
Right.
They'll submit it maybe like a week or 2 later. But the accounting system, because it's specific to the 22-23 year, counts that as a prior year liability. And even though it goes in the books, it's pulled back to be reflected in the fiscal year it's specific to. And that's why you're going to see a lot of in and out expenditures in the very first quarter.
And it's just tracking that money's run.
The accounting system does, it
Yeah.
tracks all payments.
Yeah.
Exactly. And most of those will be dated the first part of July.
July, yeah. And I've noticed that they're not just with actual things, but fees for services too, like engineering.
Exactly.
So it's kind of a broad. So that's going to encompass everything.
Right. We're kind of at the mercy of when these vendors turn their invoices in. We try to encourage the bond office is very good about kind of asking to turn in, and we're doing better every year on it.
Yeah. Okay. It's like you're just neutralizing the debit and credit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And pulling it back to the fiscal year it's specific to.
For sure. In your opinion, do you feel that, that these credits might be, are they resolved or? Are they
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, they are. I'd also like to point out on page 27, because one of our members asked about legal fees. So on page 27, you will see the legal fees under Lozano Smith for the first quarter. And when we get to the annual report, you will see them listed for fiscal year 22-23.
Thank you.
Were there any other questions on the part of the report that we could answer?
You know what they did at Seaside Heights? Playfield? Because it looks so much better and that was only $35,000, seems shockingly low to me.
Uh, which, what page are you?
Page 25.
25.
It looks like they did quite a bit of work and 35 grand seems like it's not enough.
They did do landscaping. I'm sure they've invoiced it.
Okay, K and D landscaping, yeah, so the Seaside High School, that's actually not for, that's for the baseball field,
Oh, okay,
yes.
that explains it. Cool, thank you.
Yeah, the drainage issue at that football field at Seaside High School, right? Is that ultimately that? Are you working out with a contractor?
Yes.
Who's responsible?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
we're working on that separately, so, but this is we have softball, baseball fields, there's work that's happening, on those fields. That's what the K and D is for, it's not related to the actual, football field.
Okay, and so we're, the debit and the credit, balance out. That actual creating a value called cash remaining, that's at 160,840. Or is it 116,840,000? Is that all a part of that?
Can you
Which
tell me-
page are you?
So like, say there was something that was placed in just the first page.
Oh.
I'm trying to see how it's, so, what I'm seeing is like, there's a cost that's incurred. And there's a cost that is, and that cost is given back. So I was wondering if that cost that's given back, is that accounted with the blue one on the front that says, cash remaining? Is that from all these transactions where they had a value and they've been taken back? Is this the sum of those transactions? Am I
Yeah, I think maybe two different things.
I'm having a hard time communicating.
Oh, no.
So I apologize.
I think
Yeah.
it's confusing, it's confusing the way that it comes through.
Well, I just, as a sum, like we have all these things that we're signing off on that come off costs as a credit and they're debited out and it's a clear thing. So I was just wondering if that sum, is that what that deals with? Is it a part of that?
Well,
Is
it's
it
all
just
part
like-
of,
Is the value just not really? You know what I mean? Like,
yes, yeah, it actually is an expense, so maybe a different way to look at it is if you look at the charge on page, let's just go with the $151,000 flooring costs for the
Okay.
Highland Elementary.
okay,
That actually was a cost that was incurred last fiscal year, so it wasn't actually incurred in this quarter. the quarter we're reviewing so far, we actually, the transaction came in, we book it as an expense, we reverse it, and then we actually charge it as an expense for the previous quarter.
Okay,
So it's not, it's the transaction happened in this quarter,
it's being
but
reconciled.
it wasn't booked to this quarter.
So it's being reconciled from an entirely different source of income.
It's the same funding source. I guess the best way to look at it is we had to pay it this year, but we actually, then we reversed it as a payment this year, and then the actual payment came out of last year.
Okay,
So it's still being spent. It's just coming out of last fiscal year, not this fiscal year.
right on.
But we have to track it in a way where it shows that transaction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Just because we have a lot of going on and you know, we can maybe zip up that whole thing, because any concern about that being that. Yeah, they're all attributed, they're all accounted for. And, yeah, it's all here. That's it.
It's a good
Wait, no questions about any of the expenditures, everything looks appropriate based on the fund language? Okay, I think we're all set on that. Are there any public comments about this item? We have no one from the public here. So the answer is no to that. Let's move on to, we've taken care of the financials and the warrant activity, so why don't we discuss the annual report?
Okay.
For 2022-2023 fiscal year.
All right, well, this is exciting because we're actually, we're on the track, we're back on target. So this is actually looking for the previous year's fiscal activity. So the annual report's always a look back. So we're in the 23-24 fiscal year currently, and the information you just reviewed is for the first quarter of the 23-24 fiscal year. This annual report is a look back for the fiscal activity for the entire year for 22-23. This, just as a reminder, the format in which we do this is similar to the quarterly reports, but this is a full fiscal year of activity. And it's broken down similarly where we have broken down by cost by projects, and then we have cost by vendors. The intent is for you all to review this, and then once we've determined that it's ready to go, we'll present that to the school board at a later meeting this year, and probably sometime maybe around January. If we agree to it tonight, if not, we can always, actually, is this an action item?
It's not an action item.
It's
It's just
review.
a review and discuss.
So it won't be approved until the next one. So tonight's just a review. If there's any changes, we'll make those changes or corrections, and then we'll bring it back for final review and adoption from this committee. Then we'll take it to our school board for their review.
I do have a comment. I wonder if for it never mentions it in here. It's a Series A, which is a short-term bonds, correct?
Correct.
I wondered if you could have an indicator either in the explanation or maybe within the column itself to show that that is the short-term bonds. The one area we're likely to have complaints from the public is stuff like student laptops, security cameras. All that is being purchased for the short-term bonds because we don't want to be paying interest for, 25 years on laptops. But I think it would be important to put that in there. And I think somebody at the school board even asked about that last year. So I think it's good if we could have an indication somewhere, and that'd be good.
Are you asking, where would you like that indicated in?
On the column here?
Cause
And on the column,
it
yes.
does have it. So if you look at the first actual report for the project activity, it does indicate measure I, series A or series B. And then the total dollar amounts that came out of each series, if it's, so it is on the report here. So if you look at that, if you go to page, what page is it?
Oh, okay, so let's go to page 4, because people might be watching the video here. For page 4. This is where,
Yes, you can see the top columns, it does have the project, and then there's 3 columns or 4 columns, there's the project name, measure I expenditure, series A, series B, and then the total combined.
what I would like to get is somewhere an indication that the Series A are the short-term bonds and the Series B are the long-term bonds.
Okay, we can.
Or let me think, when we talk about Series A, is that all short-term bonds or is that a mix?
It's all.
That's all.
So I think maybe what we could do as a recommendation is just list maybe on the first page of that where it has the breakdown of the issuance. Maybe we series A, we could just in parentheses put short term. That would.
I think that would work, yes.
Right here, okay.
Do you want the series B to be called out long term next or just the short term?
Put long-term next to it.
Questions, if you don't.
You'll be getting your roof report soon.
Yeah, exactly. I'll get some text messages here shortly.
Yeah.
Well, that's, I didn't see anything else on the annual report. I don't know if other committees have a chance to look that over. We always get praise every year from the board members about the report and. A lot of school districts, get this one page PR piece and we actually just give them the numbers. And then when myself and other board member, committee members go, we say, yeah, we go through these line by line. Meetings here, so we do our
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, and then just, like grouping things and moving forward, it's good to at least, question or. Get them at least as a group, so that we're not just finally punching it up going, where everything's okay,
That's
at least doing it.
I'm not sure that many committees actually do it this way,
Well,
but,
yeah, I would feel amiss if I didn't, so, yeah, I didn't mean to ask a weird question.
No, it's not weird. It's not weird at all. It's confusing the way that
Yeah.
a lot of accounting practices aren't necessarily straightforward, right? They're the logic always doesn't follow. It makes sense when you see the bigger picture. And the reason why I think the question you asked is if you saw the last fiscal year, last quarter, you would see the subsequent charge.
Mhm.
So there actually would be 3 transactions. You'd see a debit, credit, and then a debit back to last year. So that you're just missing a piece. That wasn't a dumb question at all.
Okay. Yeah, other than that, I feel comfortable.
well, why don't we,
I'm sorry.
by consensus, we'll just
I was
come back again for final approval
Okay.
on the next meeting.
Great. Page 27 has, the legal fees for the annual year.
Yes,
They're about halfway down under project 558243 Lozano Smith. And, that represents the fees for the fiscal year.
that's right. I'll be making another, table showing how much, this has been, spent. On this lawsuit and, let the community know.
It would be a good idea to add in some of the other costs that aren't part of the legal fees. You spent a substantial amount of money on an environmental impact report that wasn't necessary because Ms. Erickson said you had to. We should try to document all of the expenses that are incurred because of the lawsuit, not just the legal fees, if it's possible.
We have received a table in the past, I think we got it a year ago. Before you were on, for which, had the total and it also included the cost of the environmental review on it. Maybe we can add to that.
Yeah, so that would have been incurred. So the thing to keep in mind is this is just the fiscal activity for that period of time. So these are
Yeah.
just the costs for 22-23. In the previous fiscal quarter or annual reports, you'll see a similar total. So if you look at 21-22, you'll see a different dollar amount for the fees that were incurred that fiscal year. And so I have to, the expense you're referring to, I believe was incurred between 2021 and 21-22. So if those annual reports will reflect that.
Yeah, and to be fair, this isn't really business of this committee. I just want to know what that running total is, if it's possible.
Yes, we could, we'll look at that. We did have one, I believe we gave a number a few months back, so it should.
Yeah, I remember that. It was nearly $1 million already.
Yeah, I think to review, I'll pull up that chunk that we got, last year. The environmental review expenses should go back to 2018-19, right? Because that's when you first did the, negative,
Yeah, there probably is some expenses in that fiscal year for this, but they would all, like I said, they would all be accumulated. So if you went back and you looked at every annual report, it would show you for that each fiscal year, you would see.
Yeah, I just think taxpayers have a right to know that a handful of neighbors who feel like they might maybe be inconvenienced under some circumstances, potentially preventing children from having good things, should be documented and we should be telling people that.
all right, well, we'll work at the next meeting to make sure that those tables are there and have it documented. Maybe somebody from the public will bring a table here to talk about it.
That guy who puts all the Christmas lights in his house, drives all of his Washington or Idaho neighbors and saying, let's get him over here.
Were there any other questions or
No,
comments on
All
that?
right, so no questions and we'll bring that, because we don't have a, action item on the agenda, we can't vote on that, but, we'll give another chance for people to speak up on it.
All right, so that will be brought back for your formal adoption on the March sixth. Meeting.
Public comment about an annual report, we don't have anybody from the public here. Item G, future meeting dates for 2024.
And the next one will be March sixth.
Did anybody see any conflicts here with holidays or anything like that? I did not. Right, no comment, we'll hold those as is. You can always change them next year if we realize it's going to be. A general committee member comments. We can put a question about the cost of environmental review and litigation for the field lights under committee member comments.
Mhm.
Does anybody else have any comment? I will make a comment. We have here handed out to us by staff. The qualifications in the categories of people on the oversight committee. We've got 3 vacancies now. And Heidi, you told me about what the district is going to do. Maybe you could report to everybody on the
Yeah.
next step for the district to work on this.
So I have another ad that'll be posted in the paper next week, solicitation members for it, and I'm also gonna be working with our communications department to also place an advertisement that I saw another school district do within their district social media. So maybe we can't hit some more people.
Oh, yeah, maybe Marcy can put this in one of those bulletins that
I
comes
saw
out.
another district do it because they were having a hard time soliciting for their COC as well.
do you have this is kind of off the cuff, but you have teachers that teach like civic, like running for class president, so on and so forth, at the school level.
I would have so.
Whoever those people are, whoever those kids that really take a liking to it. Maybe just, you know, like for the future, when, say if they get out, they want to go to NPC and stay local. This would be a way for them to take part in their community and participate, so they can keep those skills going. So I wanted to share that with you. Sometimes the best synergy is the synergy you're growing. I don't know who those kids might be, but they might not be any help to us now, but 2 years down the road, there could be plenty of people.
Absolutely.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, especially since you're only offering like 4 times a year for an hour. That's not a big sacrifice for most people.
Any other committee comments?
Just want to commend staff on the excellent work that you do every time. Great reports, clear answers. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We are adjourned at 5:34. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.